yourself. Check yourself. Why lie, why steal, why kill that can't help?
Greetings and blessed love, this is Bandele here, and once again we're here on Question Everything. Tonight on Question Everything we're going to take a look at the Christian scriptures, and we're going to take a look at Genesis chapter 11. And Genesis chapter 11 speaks of the Tower of Babel. Now, I know when I was growing up and going to church, I used to hear once the Tower of Babel, and the Lord came and they were building a tower to heaven, and that just could not sit well with the Almighty God. You know, have them building the tower to heaven. So he came and he confused their language, and they were all speaking something different, so they couldn't get the tower built. And then when you look in the Uncle Arthur bedtime stories, you see this picture depicted with people like they're on their knees and their hands are up in the air and they're worshiping this tower. So I said to myself, let's go and look at Genesis chapter 11, that story that speaks about the Tower of Babel, and see if what I gathered from what I got when I got it is really what it's supposed to be from Uncle Arthur bedtime story. So let's go. We're going to look at Genesis chapter 11. We're going to start from verse 1. And verse 1 begins, "And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there." Now, we got to go back to verse 1. Because here it is now, it said that the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. That seems like oneness to me. Anyway, so let's go on, and we're going to see what this oneness did. So it wasn't a negative oneness. It wasn't a oneness sort of like, I guess they would say Sodom and Gomorrah was at oneness with their evil. This was a little bit different. This was oneness that was doing stuff. So let's see what was happening. "And they said to one another, Go to, let us make brick and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone and slime for mortar." So we see technology happening here. "And they said, Let us build a city and a tower whose top may reach unto heaven. And let us make a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth." Let's look at it again. "Let us build a city and a tower whose top may reach to heaven." Now, people with common sense understand that heaven is not only the place where God lives according to Christian theology, it is also, its definition is also heights. So whenever you hear heaven, just think of the heights. As he said, the heights of God's glory, the heavens, looking into the heavens. And so we understand that there's a dual definition of heaven. So they say the top may reach unto heaven. It may be the heaven where God lives, or it could be the heavens in the heavens. But we know that no structure could be high enough to reach where they said God lives in heaven, up in the sky. Right? So we know he wasn't really trying to get to know heaven, God home. People never tried to build a building that was high, World Trade Center kind of thing, the Tower of Giza or the Pyramid of Giza, something, anything like that. But anyway, let's go. So while they were building this, they said to, "Let us make a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth." So they wanted to create identity, this identity in oneness. Why? Because they do not want to be separated and segregated. So the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men had built it. So obviously he knew about it. Maybe they told him, one time when he came down in whatever it is that he usually comes down in. "And the Lord said, Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language, and this they begin to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them which they have imagined to do. Let us go down and there confound, I'm getting confused with this confunction, that they may not understand one another's speech. So the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build a city. Therefore it is name of it is called Babel, because of Babel, because the Lord did there confound the language of all the earth, and from thence did the Lord scatter them abroad upon the face of the earth. Now I have a little problem with this story. Everything that we live in for today, everything that we live in for today is suggesting that we are to be in oneness and we are to strive for unity, and that when that unity happens, it's supposed to bring out the best in us. And here it is, we have a group of people who have one language and one speech. This one language and one speech began to bring technology into the fore that could help them, and as they developed, they were better able to understand how they are to live. And they determined to become one people and to have an identity so that they would not be scattered around the globe, the planet. This God that is in Genesis comes down, sees what's happening, decide that what is happening is not congruent with what he wants, and what it is exactly that he would want. Disunity, segregation, separation. Or was it because he was forced to have to realize that the people would once again be as they, just as in the Garden of Eden, after the so-called fall, the story that was given was, and now man has become one of us. Validating what Lucifer said, you will not die, but you shall be like one of them. So, two questions. Why is it that this God has always resisted those men being like him? And number two, why would you seek to separate the man you have made on the earth, the children he has made on the earth, to segregate and to create disunity amongst these people, when the unity was doing nothing but bring them into a closer harmony with how they can utilize the resources on the earth? What is it that this God is afraid of man knowing about him, that he does not want man to get close to him? But then again, here comes his son, and his son says there is no robbery to be called equal with God. There is no robbery to be called equal with God. So here it is, the son is vying for a knowledge and a oneness with God, and it's not robbery if you see yourself as equal with him. But here it is, he resisted man being equal with him. He drove Adam and Eve out of that garden because of the eating of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and all he told them was they were going to die. Lucifer came and told them exactly what he was afraid was going to happen. So why was he with all the knowledge? What's happening with that God there? You know, why is it that there are so many instances where the omnipotence that should be awarded you, this God, has to come into serious question because your behavior mirrors those of a sentient being, and a man, possibly a man with a little higher intelligence and an extraterrestrial something, but you're jealous, you're dividing people, you're withholding information, and then the pundits will tell you, oh, question not the Lord, but in another place the Lord will tell you, question me, prove me. So we're saying, unquestion everything. We need to know, why is it that you decided to push the men who overcame the turmoil of their ancestors and began to establish unity? We need to know why you recreated that evil that is plaguing us today, that not even the existence of your son, according to what you call scriptures, 2,000 years now can put an end to. But here it is. These questions and more will be looked at and question everything. This is Bandeli Asita Nagash, Hotep Ra.
Check your steal? Why kill that can't help us? Why rape and scrape?